FineScale Model Basics is sponsored by Hobby Zone USA, your source for hobby storage solutions, hard-to-find modeling tools, and aftermarket modeling needs.
Welcome to Scale Model Basics. I'm Tim Kidwell. Let's talk about painting wooden propellers so that they have a realistic wooden laminated appearance. For that, you're going to need a couple of things. First of all, you're going to need your propellers. I have a variety of them here just so that you can see that yes, indeed, you can use this technique on a variety of different shapes, from these really rounded and angled propellers to something flatter and more square. What you'll need to do first is base coat your propeller in a light brown color. In this case, I've used Tamiya Buff, but something like, say, sand or deck tan or something along those lines, that will work for you. It just needs to be a lighter brown color. Now, what we are looking for is to mimic those really cool laminations that are in wooden propellers, where, yeah, you're gonna see, how thick they are right here at the hub, but they get much wider as you go out along the blades. So to do that, you're going to need something like this number 2 pencil, or you can even use a colored pencil like this one, or a drafting pencil. Mechanical pencil will work too. But the important thing is that you don't want your pencil, and the reason why I don't necessarily prefer these is because these can roll on you. You want your pencil to be able to stay in a single position. And then the other thing that you want is to make sure that the pencil lead is not too hard. So a soft pencil lead, in this case I've got a number 2 here, HB. If it's too hard, you risk scraping the paint off of the propeller. In addition to your number 2 pencil, you're also going to need risers. These risers, you're going to put those underneath your propeller, and that's going to be the thickness of your laminations. In this case, I've got 0.40 inch thick styrene, which is about 1 millimeter thick. What I've done here is I've stacked 2 1 millimeter thick styrene sheets on top of each other, and that's going to allow me to do my first line. So just gently pull the lead of the pencil along the propeller. Keep the pencil flat. The other thing will be then to just give yourself enough of a line down under here, under this undercut. So we've drawn this line out here, staying with that same height with the laminate, just coming over here to the other side, and then doing the same procedure. Now, we'll remove one of those laminates, one of those risers, and that then is going to give you your next lamination. There is a little bit of artistry that is involved with this, and you're just gonna have to trust yourself on it. If you look at pictures of wooden laminated propellers, as they get out toward the ends of these blades, you can see how that wood will curve over, it'll curve around. So, using your artistry, some artistic license, like I don't like how long that one there came out like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna erase that back. Get out of here. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and just say that this curves around like that. And then what you can do is come over here and mimic it on the other side. And now they're looking pretty similar on both sides. Not exact, but nothing ever is completely exact. Once you have your guides in place, the next thing is to paint in your darker colors. To save time, I'm going to paint that central laminate this color, golden brown. I find that this process with the acrylic really works because it's a propeller and a wooden one at that, so you're not really worried about your brush strokes or hiding them, right? So we've got the upper and lower laminates now, and that central one is a different color, so I think that's looking pretty good. And like I said, I'm not really worried about, making sure that that is as solid a color as possible or getting rid of my brush marks because we're painting wood grain. Now, once you're happy with how that looks, go ahead and put some burnt sienna artist oils onto either a Post-it or a note card or something. A piece of cardboard will work too. And what that will do is start leaching out a lot of the oil that's in that paint. And then get yourself a small cell foam sponge and tweezers and rip off a piece. Doesn't have to be huge, but just a little bit. What you're gonna do is pick up some of the artist oil on that sponge and then apply it. And all you're looking to do is begin to create wood grain. That's all you're looking to do. You can also use a flat brush to do this, or if you think you are really good at it, you can use a brush with a fine tip. Using this technique, you can get really super fine grains. You can come back in and maybe if there are a couple of places that you want to have some waves or some, just interest that you want to add, you can always come back in because you can work this grain to whatever you think looks good. Another technique that FSM authors have used, I'm going to turn this over so we can do it on the back side here. You're just going to, with a colored pencil or a watercolor pencil, you are going to draw in that wood grain. And you can maybe add a little knot here. I'll do that. It's not going to be nearly as fine, I don't think, as the artist oils, but you are going to have more control. Now, the reason I like the artist oils is that it is fine and that it can be random, right? And there isn't anything that says that you couldn't mix the two techniques as well. So I'm thinking that's starting to look like a wooden propeller. But there's still one more thing to do, and that is to apply either a clear orange or a clear yellow, depending on what your preference is or what your references say, to your wooden propeller. We have gone from a plastic propeller that has been base coated with a light brown or a tan to what has become I think, very convincing wooden looking propeller with a couple of shades of brown, and now it also wears a clear orange coat and then a light gloss coat on top of it. So at this point it's ready for finishing, painting the hub on the front, gluing the hub onto the back and painting it, and maybe a nice just tiny little pin wash to make those details for the hub pop. And that's how you make a plastic part look like a convincing real wooden propeller. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.